Well, welcome back to the show and welcome Aaron Bellings. So today, what a treat. We have two of some of my favorite people, I must say. So Aaron and Michael Bellings will be joining us today, and they are the Bellings Brothers, whom I hired probably 13 years ago, as we've discovered. And they've gone on to be top team in the city of San Francisco with over $1 billion in sales already. And they have, in just last year alone, closed 70 transactions. That's pretty amazing. They're third generation of realtors. I know their dad well, and I'm very proud and excited to be talking with you today. So what we'll do is we're going to meet Aaron Bellings first, and then we're going to meet Michael Bellings, who will talk because they have different strengths, and then we'll have part two of our interview with you, which will be a joint venture of both the gentlemen together. Okay, so welcome, Aaron.
Excited to be here.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to see
You
you.
tell everyone they're your favorite stuff.
No, go watch the videos. Although I do like a lot of people, but I remember the day that I hired you and your brother, and we'll get into that when we meet with Michael as well. But it was a very exciting day for me, and today is also a very exciting day for me.
Same here.
So some of the things that I want to talk to you alone about, because I know that you and Michael, while you're brothers and joined at the hip, you both have very different strengths, and that you come both from corporate structure when I met you when you were very much younger, I should say, and you come from a data-driven basis. So I wanted to ask you about that, like how does the data play into your career and to your half of the relationship?
Well, my background was in finance. So I studied finance in college. I worked at Merrill Lynch for a brief stint out of school, but I've always been the numbers guy. Mm-hmm. So Michael and I make a really great yin and yang because he's the creative marketing right brain and I'm the data-driven black and white numbers left brain. And together we make one great brain.
That's great. And how do you utilize that in your partnership?
Absolutely. Well, it's utilized in pretty much every aspect of our business, as you know, like from commissions to pricing to over asking to percentages to just numbers and data and everything, especially in today's world, especially with today's very smart consumers and very smart home buyers. They want to see the data. So you have to have a little bit of everything, right? You have to have a full tool belt, as we like to say, for your real estate, my Batman outfit. But I love the data. The data is just like what makes me happy. And it's easy when you're talking to somebody when you can back it up with actual facts. Because they'll listen to me, but at the end of the day, they'll listen to me more when I can back up what I'm saying.
We're not always listening to facts anymore.
There's a lot of information out there, but it's easy to find the data for real estate when you're tapped in.
And so do you compile that on a weekly basis, a daily basis, a monthly, quarterly? How do you do that?
It's a little bit of all of it. It's a little bit of an as needed, but it's just about staying top of mind and staying like in the know and in the trenches. Michael and I were lucky enough where we have only one city where we focus. We do 100% of our business in San Francisco. So we just stay on the forefront of all of the tech, all of the numbers, all the neighborhoods, all the insights. It's a lot easier when you're not covering North Bay, South Bay, East Bay, city, people go all over the place and that's great. But what works for us is being the subject matter experts in one spot.
All right. And there's plenty of homes in San Francisco.
There's plenty of homes to go around.
Yeah.
It's a lot of non-Googleable data too. So everything that you read in the news or periodicals or whatever it might be about real estate is always 6 weeks old because there's 30-day escrows and that takes a couple of weeks to compile. So all the data that we provide too is real time. So we can actually get the data from, the street level.
Excellent. And then do you provide that to buyers and sellers as you meet with them on a regular basis? Do you use it in your listing presentations and your buyer? You probably have a buyer handbook or something that you like. Buyer's guide. To home ownership.
We try not to overwhelm people right out of the gate. Sellers are going to need it a lot more than buyers will. Buyers will need it at the time when they need it. So you're drinking from a fire hose when you're buying your first home in San Francisco. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to understand. There's a lot to get from things like this simple. It's like open house etiquette to reviewing disclosure packages. So if you start throwing just data at people from day one, they're going to drown pretty quickly.
Right.
So it's released intentionally at the right times and when it makes sense for them to do so.
Or if you need it.
As you know, it's one domino at a time, getting a buyer from the initial email or phone call to handing them the keys, and the data is provided throughout that process.
Excellent, excellent. And so with that, how do you, it's interesting to me, people who are data-driven, how do you balance the emotionality of buying a home?
Well, it's a skill set that you learn, I think, on the
Did
go.
you have to learn that?
I mean, yes and no. I like to think personable. I've been in sales since day one, from my lemonade stand, and my Bee Baby sale as a kid.
I love that.
I mean,
I love that.
my brother and I were entrepreneurs from day one, going from squeezing the lemons in our yard to understanding that we could go to the grocery store and for $3 buy a giant tub of lemonade, and that helps the margins right off the bat. So I can't remember where the question started, but
Well, the emotionality of buying, yes, because when you have some people, I've hired people in the past who, literally, one of my favorites is this gentleman who was Russian, and he was a rocket scientist, and he wanted to sell real estate. And I was like, I don't know that you're really cut out for this, because your engineer brains don't always work with sales mentality.
Right.
So, and he tried, bless his heart, and I tried my hardest to train him, but he just could never get out of his own way. So sometimes I find people who have that sort of left brain, right brain, depending how you deal with the emotionality of the stress of buying a home. And do you bring Michael in at those times, or do you work together on every transaction? That's
So we've been business partners since day one.
Right.
We split everything 50-50, but we learned from basically our second transaction on, so a long time ago, that when there's two personalities and two sets of opinions and two things going on, it's too much for everybody. Right. So we will always typically meet with people initially, sellers, like together, but then one of us will be the main point of contact moving forward.
Okay. That's good.
And that way they know they always are going to get two opinions, two great minds, two top producers on their team, but also there's only one point of contact, so it's not overwhelmed.
Right. And also I find that people, the buyers are not watching this, so I'll say, but they do tend to say, well, Michael said, or
Correct.
so-and-so said.
There's a lot of right answers out there.
Well, there's also a lot of blaming, when they
Yeah, no, but we're an aligned front for sure.
Yeah.
And on the emotionality piece, I think I've always loved working with people. So I think that I like the left brain aspect. So I do enjoy working with investors also. Like, I'm not going to say more or less, but when people give me like, hey, here's what we have to spend, here's what I need on a monthly return, go get it.
Oh, yeah.
That's the non-emotional aspect. I love that. And I can just kind of dig in the numbers and make it happen for them.
Yeah.
But I love equally, because it's also like less, I'd say, powerful handing an investor a set of keys. Mm-hmm. Like I closed on a multifamily 2 weeks ago and they still haven't come to get their keys for me yet.
Yeah.
Versus like the first time home buyers, like we close at 3 p.m. We're there at 3:05 delivering keys, hugs, cheers, all that. So that's also like very powerful. And I love that aspect of my job.
Well, it's great that you have that ability to go either which way. And that's really, really helpful on a team. It's good to diversify, so we don't always get pigeonholed into one way of working. So that's really nice. And when you work with investors, since we're there, do you do spreadsheets for them and calculations as data like that? Or do you just...
Good question. Yeah, I can. A lot of people like to do their own calculations. So I will give them, everyone's always going to get my honest opinion. Mm-hmm. So, hey, this is why I would or would not buy this building. This is why I would or would not buy this house. But in terms of the spreadsheets, I rely on them to make their own calculations, but also I'm going to provide them with what I think makes the most sense. Again, why it's priced a certain way, why it's worth a certain thing, what does our upside look like? Because there's a lot of things too that can't be calculated ahead of time, which is like there's a 3-unit building and one's 10,000 square feet and one's 3,000 square feet, but they're listed for the same price, and why? And just kind of being a forensic real estate agent and finding, where the upside is and what the benefits here might be, things like that.
Right. Excellent. So, do you work primarily with buyers or sellers, or what do you think your business, since you're the data person, what are your numbers?
So we work about 60-40 buyers versus sellers. So Michael and I are lucky enough to just have a great network of folks now. We have a huge referral business, but we are the #1 buyers team in the city since 2018. And what that means is we've helped more people buy homes here than any other team. But we also are the number 2 overall team in terms of transaction volume. So we do a heavy listing side also. But we try not to pigeonhole ourselves in one way or the other, because I meet agents all the time. They're like, oh, I don't work with buyers. I'm like, it's so silly. Why would you cut off half of your potential income stream? And I get it. Buyers can be trickier than listings, especially in like a hot market. But no, we focus on helping people accomplish whatever their real estate goals might be. And sometimes to buy and to sell, for example.
And you're both so young. So, I mean, imagine that most of your clients are of the buying age.
Yes.
Does that factor into your calculations?
A lot of let's put it this way. Michael hates when I say this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Our first listing was the 3rd buyer we ever helped buy a home. So basically, you have to start as a buyer's agent in San Francisco. Yep. And really, I think in any market, but I can only speak to the one that I know. So everyone starts as a buyer's agent, and then eventually it evolves into whatever your business evolves into. But we took our first listing, and we then met 5 more neighbors and sent out 500 postcards, and then that turned into our next listing. And then it just becomes this spider web that just grows, and it's all these people that started with their first-time home buyers that we've now helped buy their 2nd, 3rd home.
Nice.
Like our very first person that we ever sold a home to now owns not only a 2nd home, but also an investment property in San Francisco.
Nice.
And they always come back, and we always love reminiscing. And now that we're 13 years removed from it, we always tell our clients, remember, you were the first one.
Oh, it's so nice. People love knowing that too. Yeah. That they were the first, and they love to stick, with us. They love to be repeat clients if you do a great job. I mean, that says a lot for your reputation.
That's the key. Is you're only, or what our dad taught us is you're only good as your last transaction. Mm-hmm. So you can be the number 1 agent in the world, but if you mess up your last transaction, you're back you got to climb that mountain again. So you got to do a great job every single time.
Yeah, one bad Yelp review again.
Yeah,
you're dead.
But and you're driven, like you have the incentive to continue to do well because of things like Yelp and all of that. But Michael and I just love helping people, and we just love what we do, and it's just all organically turned into this amazing thing.
Yeah, well, it does show that you love what you do. I've known that from the day I met you, and I can see it in your face. You're just happy to be involved in real estate. You love it, and so it's natural.
I'm not always this happy to talk to office managers, but we love you, Paula. And we have a lot of history, and a lot has happened at this table that I'm sitting at. So I'm extra happy.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's so wonderful for you to come in and take the time. I know you're really busy, and I really appreciate you taking the time to share, because now it's your turn to give back a little bit.
Absolutely.
Since you've been a rock star, both you and Michael, and now you're giving back. So I hope that people will really enjoy our segment.
Absolutely. Well, we're open books. We love helping. We love paying it forward. And we had many mentors growing up, and you just take what you can from all the people around you, and we're ready to give back in that.
That was great. Well, we're going to wrap there and let Michael talk about his side of the team, and then we'll come back to you both together.
Deal.
All right. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'll do 2 phone.
All right.